Okay. Hopefully we're good. We're live. All right. So, welcome to the Wrestling Pod. I'm your host, Carlito Santiago. And today, we are here to summarize what went down on Friday Night SmackDown. But before we do, of course, if you can do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, drop a like, comment down below, and turn on those post notifications so you never miss a stream. That would be very appreciated. Off the heels of Crown Jewel that saw Seth Rollins best Cody Rhodes in a star-studded main event, SmackDown hits the USA airwaves Friday with a broadcast that features the first appearance of the American Nightmare since that defeat in Perth, Australia. A battle between two heavyweights pit Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu against each other, and the women's tag team titles were on the line as Flair and Bliss defended against NXT's Solaruca and Zarya. Cody Rhodes kicked off SmackDown. See, General Manager of SmackDown Nick Aldis informed the WWE Universe that the scheduled match between Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre for tonight's show will now become a number one contenders bout, with the winner facing the undisputed WWE Champion Cody Rhodes, most likely at Saturday Night Main Event, or at some point. The American Nightmare made his way to the squared circle to kick off the show, drawing a big ovation while doing so. He immediately addressed his loss to Seth Rollins at Crown Jewel before setting his sights on this week's show and a aforementioned number one contenders match. He said he, like the fans, would sit back and watch the showdown between McIntyre and Fatu as they fought to be his next challenger. Rhodes said that Rollins split himself to the bone to beat him, perhaps hinting at an arm injury that could keep the Visionary out of action for the foreseeable future. Fortunately, this was uneventful. There was nothing about the segment that needed to happen, meaning the sole reason for it was to have the biggest star on the show pop out. Also, an impatient Solo and the MFTs bullied Rey Fenix, likely setting up a match for later in the show. But we got to our women's tag team title match. So the women's tag team championships were on the line when Solaruca and Zarya challenged Flair and Bliss in the night's opening contest. Cameras caught Blake Monroe at ringside watching Ruka, who she will challenge for the North American Championship at Halloween Havoc next Saturday night. So not this Saturday, but next Saturday. The challengers worked over Bliss throughout the commercial break, highlighting the tag team chemistry that allowed them to propel themselves to this championship opportunity. A hot tag sparked a furious comeback for the main roster combo as Flair took down and beat up Zarya. That momentum came to an end with a tag to Ruka, who fought off both champions. The double champ rocked the Queen with a soul snatcher, only for Bliss to break up the pinfall. The action spilled to the floor where Monroe distracted Ruka, allowing Flair to capitalize and take out her knee. The figure eight followed, and the challenger had no choice but to tap. So it should be a pretty good, fun rivalry for Ruka and Monroe, adding a little bit there. Honestly, I think the grading of a B makes sense. You have a matchup between, of course, Solaruca and Monroe that is already set in pace and already going to have some fun come the pay-per-view, for NXT. So it'll be interesting to see what It'll be interesting to see what Solaruca and Blake Monroe have to offer, or will have to give for the audience come that week. As for the women's champions, we're going to need to find some new challengers for them. It has been a year since we have seen somebody come back. Sami Zayn defended the title against a return. You see, despite Aldis' insistence on the alternative, Sami Zayn hit the ring for his latest U.S. title open challenge. The Miz attempted to answer it, but found himself on the receiving end of an attack from, of course, Carmelo Hayes, leaving the champion alone in square circle. So we're going to get the Miz and Carmelo Hayes in a feud at some point. But that was until, of course, Ilja Dragunov made his long-awaited return, drawing a strong reaction from the fans in the Bay Area. After literally over a year away from the squared circle due to a severe knee injury, Dragunov took the fight to Sami Zayn from the opening bell. After the commercial break, both champion and challenger exchanged blows, holds, counters, reversals, drawing this awesome chant from the fans in San Jose. Back from another timeout, the Mad Dragon delivered a senton that should have put Sami Zayn away, but the champion kicked out at 2. When the challenger tried for the H-bomb, Zayn met him with a big boot to the face. But late in the match, though, the champion set up for a Luva kick, only to be distracted by Solo Sikoa, allowing the Mad Dragon to mount one last offense and put Zayn away with the H-bomb, allowing him to win the gold in his first match back. After that match, the MFTs attacked both competitors, and a save by Rey Fenix fell short. As the heels stood tall, Bo Dallas appeared in a pre-taped video and issued a warning to the faction before Eric Rowan, Dexter Lumis, Joe Gacy, and Nikki Cross hopped on the apron and stared them down. This was graded an A+, and you know what? It fucking deserves it because it did a lot of things. Not only was the performance a fucking B+ at best, but this is how we got it to an A+. This is how we got an extra step up. You set up for what is next for this. Obviously, the MFTs are trying to clear ways. They were like, fuck Sami Zayn, we're done with him. We're done with all of these motherfuckers. We want better and bigger challenges. And the Wyatt Six is going to bring them, of course, some challenges. So we could be looking at Solo's bloodline, or Solo and the MFTs, now going up against the Wyatt family, or the Wyatt Six. And I think that's pretty fucking good. That's a good moving forward. Obviously, Rey Fenix, they're just showing off some of the mid-card talent on SmackDown. But Dragunov defeating Zayn to win the title is great. It puts Sami Zayn in another position of doing whatever he needs to do to help out. And kind of moving him away. Now kind of wanting to have him be bigger and win the Royal Rumble and hopefully defeat Seth Rollins for the World Championship. If Rollins is, done. Or Rollins is going to stay champion, so. Who knows? Who knows? What I do know is that this was a great decision to bring Dragunov back. Dragunov could now come back as a heel, if so, maybe. Who knows? We don't know. All we know is that he's a babyface. But next week will probably ensure us. Dragunov wasted no time returning and reminded fans why he was one of the best wrestlers on the planet when he unfortunately suffered the knee injury that would cost him a year of his career. This was extraordinary TV Match of the Year candidate that had fans on the edge of their seats spilling their allegiance. Greatness from both men. Of course, also Black and Vega addressed their actions from last week, and they admitted it was in the plans from the beginning and issued a warning to anyone else within earshot to end the fucking pre-taped, video. We move on as we, of course, remember that this has been a year since the Motor City Machine Guns have been, of course, fully with the WWE. A backstage confrontation between the Motor City Machine Guns and Los Garza resulted in a tag team match. A rematch of the first match Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley wrestled in WWE. Berto and Angel and Berto isolated Shelley early on, cutting him off from his tag team partner. They controlled the pace of the bout throughout the commercial break. When Sabian tagged in, they continued their dominance, wiping the babyfaces out at ringside. Back in the ring, the former tag team champions seized one opening, delivered the Skulls and Bones for the much-needed victory. Tiffany Stratton also backstage. We had a backstage segment. C+ for this match. Nothing fancy. Backstage, Tiffany Stratton said she would not allow her setback against 70 Vaquera Crown Jewel. A confrontation with Kiana James led to a match between them on next week's show. The commentary team of Joseph Vick and Corey Graves put over the success of Angel and Berto in AAA hard, which begs the question, would they be accepted by the audience more if WWE presented their match by showing footage of their success in Mexico? Maybe. That's a good question. That's a very good question. But then we got something that just kind of set the tone downwards. Before he could make his entrance, cameras caught Jacob Fatu lying backstage with blood and possibly teeth on the ground, as it was clear that he was unable to compete. And also mentioning before the show even happened, Jacob Fatu is being taken off of TV because he is seriously injured. I don't know exactly the I unfortunately do not know the contents of which Jacob Fatu is injured. I don't know if it's what part of his body is injured. What I can confirm is that Jacob Fatu is injured by news sources that I am close with. know that he is injured. In the arena, a furious Rose arrived at the scene and exclaimed, "You want your title match? You can have it tonight." The longtime rivals brawled around the ring area, beating each other up through the commercial break. When the fight entered the ring and the bell rang, McIntyre took control quickly, launching Rhodes with an overhead suplex and later dropping him with a future shock DDT. The action spilled outside when Rhodes blasted McIntyre with the WWE title belt, drawing a DQ. But not the conclusion of the fight. Instead, Rhodes climbed on top of the announce table, set up for his finisher, Crossroads, before security and Aldis arrived to scene. The champion launched himself off the top rope, wiping out security and McIntyre, and stood tall to close out the show. Honestly, something you would never see from a babyface. Cody Rhodes. This was a fight brawl with lots of aggression and intensity. But this was something I prefer about WWE advertising Fatu all show, while knowing full well he was not competing, then booking a cop-out pull apart to close the show. So yeah, I was going to get a C+ for that, of course. False advertisement. But really, what was the overall grade? Well, this was a pretty odd episode, if you ask me, in that it appears as though that Fatu's injury threw things for a loop, accumulating in the Rhodes-McIntyre brawl to close the show and bring those two superstars back together. Even if it did not, and that was always the plan, it felt spontaneous instead of rehearsed. And that it's always a welcome feeling when when watching a WWE event. The return of Dragunov in his subsequent match with Zayn, and of course winning the title, was nothing short of an extraordinary, and the women's tag team title match was fun too. Even with that said, this felt like a disjointed show, with some questionable booking decisions, a tag team division that is about to get crowded again, and too many talent individuals not being utilized to their fullest potential. So for that, it gets a C+, and I stick by the grading of SmackDown. Is SmackDown sort of falling off? I really don't know if we can really say that that's the case, but it feels like it. It sort of feels like it. Okay? It feels a little bit like SmackDown's a bit falling off. Sucks, but they're just not utilizing more talent. Like, they need to utilize all their talent that they can. Oh, shit. I'm glad they're using their tag team division more. I'm glad that we got Solo and fucking, the Wyatt family and the tag team titles involved with the MFTs. That's good too. This show was alright for what it was worth, but yeah, WWE needs to pick it up. The creative team needs to really do some more shit, because this is just not it. We're at that Cody championship reign where it's kind of like, taking a bit of bumpy. We're on a rocky road, That's where there are certain things on SmackDown, like bits and pieces are good and others are bad. So we really need to step it up, SmackDown. Keep going with the tag teams going. Keep the tag teams going. Road Dogg's been a tag team guy, so he knows that we need tag teams all the way across the board. We need more main event players. Aleister Black could be a good fit for Cody Rhodes. That would have been a great one. Right now he's on a feud with Damian Priest. Once he's done with that, get him in the feud with Rhodes. But what did you guys think of SmackDown? Let me know in the comments down below. I thought it was alright for what it was worth, but again, WWE really needs to step it up. I will be back. What the fuck was that? I don't know. I'm pretty tired. I'll be back on Tuesday for the Raw review, of course. Lewis will be here Tuesday as well. To give you guys the Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football coverage of the NFL. Okay? So I will see you guys next week. Peace!